Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna learn about the present continuous tense, or also called as present progressive tense. In my previous video about the present simple tense, I discussed a little overview about the present simple tense and present continuous tense, since many English learners get confused about these two. Present simple and present continuous are two basic tenses when talking about present. Now let's look at the chart. We use present simple for something in general and permanent. So in present simple we say, I work. That means I have a job. In present continuous, I would say, I am working. This means I am working at this moment, or temporarily. So present continuous talks about something that's happening right now. For example, I am teaching, you're listening, or you are watching. Or it can also talk about something temporary, like you're watching at this moment, or you're listening to me right now. So it is just for a short period of time. So maybe after this video, you will do something else, so it's temporary. However, I work in present simple talks about something true in general. For example, I work at ABC company, but I'm not working at this moment. I still have a job, but I'm not working right now. We also use present simple tense to talk about things that are permanent. For example, your job. I work at this company, or I live in the city. So you don't change your job or your home address every day, so more or less they are permanent. Where you work or where you live. So present continuous is more temporary and now. So that's the basic overview and the basic idea. If you're still confused about how present simple tense is used, you can visit my previous lesson about it. You can click the card at the top of the screen or visit the link in the description box below. Now let's focus on our main lesson today. Present continuous tense are also called as present progressive tense. So let's look at when we use present continuous tense. As we saw earlier, we can definitely use present continuous tense to talk about something that's happening right now. For example, the children are playing. My phone is ringing, so I need to answer it. So these are the examples of something happening right now. We can also use this tense to talk about something that's happening around now. For example, he is reading a novel. He might not be reading it at this moment or right now, but he is reading it around now. So what does it mean? We don't know how long it will take him to read a whole novel, but he's reading it. It's happening around this time, so we can use it in that context. We could also say he's working on a project. Maybe the project will take him 1 month or 1 year, we don't know, but it's happening around now. Next, we can also use it to talk about something temporary. That's something that is happening all the time, but something temporary. For example, that novel. We don't know how fast he reads. Maybe he'll take 1 week or just 3 days to finish the whole novel. It's not something that lasts forever. It is something that is just temporary. Let's use another example. We're staying at a hotel. We live in our home and it's permanent. But right now, we're staying at a hotel, maybe because we're away from home or we're on vacation or while we're staying in the city. So that's temporary. Next, we can also use it to talk about a trend. A trend is something that is changing or something that is developing. For example, the demand for hand sanitizers is increasing. The price of the hand sanitizers is going up. So maybe it was here before, and because of this pandemic, it's going up. Some sort of changes that are happening. We can also talk about trend in terms of something that is popular. Often, we talk about fashion trends. For example, people are wearing bright colors in summer. Or people are using avatar on Facebook. You can also say, people are making TikTok videos. So these are the trends, and we can talk about trends using present continuous tense. So these are the basic ways in which we can use this tense. However, there are two slightly more advanced ways in which we can also use this tense. Remember that these are rules exceptions, so let's look at what they are. The first one is to talk about some kind of repeated action, but it's usually something negative. So we can use it if you want to complain about something. For example, if you say, she's always making a noise, it's a negative remark, right? So we can use always in this context with present continuous tense. We usually use the adverbs of frequency such as always, never, sometimes, often, and so on to talk about present simple, or something that is true in general, or to talk about facts. For example, the sun always rises in the east. But when you're talking about something negative, very often we can use present continuous tense. But that's slightly more advanced way to use it. So don't worry about it too much, but you might hear some people using it that way. And another point, I know this can be a little confusing to some of you. I know I said that present continuous talks about something in the present, not the past and not the future, the present. However, sometimes we can actually use it to talk about the future, but only in a special way. So let's look at what that is. If I say, she's flying to Hawaii next week. Now, if I didn't say next week, if I just say, she's flying to Hawaii, this means that she's flying now. So when you want to use this tense to talk about a future, you have to tell something in the future. For example, next week, tomorrow, next summer or next year, and many more. You have to give some kind of time in the future, and then you can use present continuous for the future in a slightly more advanced way, alright? So those are the basic ways in which we can use this tense. Let's look at when not to use the present continuous tense. So we cannot use the present continuous tense to talk about any permanent actions or activities. For some people, where they live and where they work are more or less permanent. They don't change every day. They are not temporary. For example, so if you live in Australia all the time, it will be wrong to say, I am living in Australia. That would be okay only if it was something temporary. Similarly, if I work at ABC company and it's my permanent job, it would be wrong to say, I am working at ABC company. I would need to say, I work at the ABC company. That would be a different tense, the present simple tense. Same goes for this. If I live in Australia, I need to say, I live in Australia, and not, I am living, because that would be temporary. So that's the most common kind of mistake that people make, so be mindful of that. We also have stative verbs. This is another area that you need to be careful of. Why? Because in English, there are two kinds of verbs. Action verbs or dynamic verbs, and what are called stative verbs. Action verbs or dynamic verbs are the normal verbs that you know most of the time, like run, walk, dance, eat, and sing. Whereas stative verbs describe a state or a condition. It could be a mental state or it could be an emotional state. And with present continuous tense, we cannot use any stative verbs. Okay, so let me give you some examples of stative verb. For example, it would be wrong if you say, I am understanding English. No, you cannot say that because understand is a stative verb, to do it with your mind. So it's wrong to use it in continuous form. Another example, we are liking the show. Liking is also wrong because, like understand, it is also a stative verb. So instead of saying, I'm liking the show, we would need to say, I like the show. Another one, he is having a car. Here, having means possession. When expressing possession, it is stative. I explained this kind of verbs in my lesson about stative verbs and dynamic verbs. You can watch the whole video to fully understand it. I also provided a list of stative verbs and the verbs that can be both stative verbs and dynamic verbs. Okay, so let's move forward to the last example. Are they needing help? Here, needing is also a stative verb, so we don't use it in continuous tense. Need and want are very common verbs, which are usually stative verbs, and therefore we cannot use them in continuous tense. So, it would be wrong to say, are they needing help? You would need to say, do they need help? So whether you understand the difference between present simple and present continuous or not, just don't worry about it right now. Just focus for now on learning the present continuous tense and understand that with this tense, we cannot use permanent activities or actions and stative verbs. Let's look at how we form present continuous. In positive sentence, we will just follow this rule. Subject plus verb to be such as is, am, and are plus verb plus ing. Just always remember these patterns. Pronoun I, always use am. Repeat after me. I am working. Or you can say I'm working. Singular subjects, which mean one, always use the verb is. For example, Karen is working. Pronouns he, she, and it use the same rule. Repeat after me. He is working. She is working. It is working. You can also use contraction for informal conversation, like he's working, she's working, it's working. For plural subjects, which mean two or more, we use are. For example, Anna and Jude are working. Pronouns they, we, and you follow the same rule. Repeat after me. They are working. We are working. You are working. Or you can use a contraction like they're working, we're working, you're working. So these are the subjects, these are the verbs to be, and the verbs plus ing. Now, to form the negative sentence, we will just put the word not after the verb to be. Repeat after me. I am not working. He is not working. She is not working. It is not working. We can also use a contraction in negative sentence. Repeat after me. He's not working. She's not working. It's not working. They're not working. We're not working. You're not working. Or you can also use this contraction, isn't or aren't. Repeat after me. He isn't working. She isn't working. It isn't working. They aren't working. We aren't working. You aren't working. So you can use either of these contractions. Just always remember that we only use these contractions for informal conversation or informal writing. We don't usually use them for formal conversation or formal writing, like business writing or academic writing. Now for question, we will just need to reverse the order. So instead of saying I am, we will say am I. So the pattern is verb to be plus subject plus the verb plus ing. Just don't forget the verb to be because they are really important. They are part of this tense. So repeat after me. Am I working today? Is he working? Is she working? Is it working? Are they working? Are we working? Are you working? So that's the basic question form. Now remember that we can always add a question word before that. For example, you could say, where are you working? When are you working? How long are you working? So what's important here is that you keep the same order. Just add a question word like when, where, how often, how long, and many more before the question pattern. Where are you working? When are you working? How long are you working? How often are you working? And so on. So that's how we form present continuous tense in positive sentence, negative sentence, and question. That's all for today, guys. I hope you understand the present continuous tense, when to use it and when not to use it, as well as how to form it in positive sentence, negative sentence, and question. Don't forget to review the stative verbs and present simple tense in my other videos. All links are in my description box below. See you in my next video. Bye!